She's awesome. She's in the other room.
Aw. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Try It Together. I am your host and founder, Pratibha Day. You are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today. And I am here with Mr. Andre Van Lun.
There you go.
I got it. Yes. Yeah. So on this platform, we use courage to showcase our stories. We use hope to overcome and imagination to resonate and understand with the stories that are being shared. And no judgments, please. So, and never age.
Part of it.
I wish I could do that, but I'm a woman, so.
look at the other side, though.
Yo, look at those pecs and everything.
But
and we're gonna.
Do you see the right?
Yeah. Aver. Oh, snap average. Listen, I thought it was one of your children's names, maybe like Avery. I'm like, Aver,
Yeah.
So I'm like thinking about your kids because like that's like my focus. Like, are your kids okay? Like, because there's two of them.
Big time.
Because there's like two. I'm like, where are they? Like, who's taking care of them? Oh my God. I don't know anyone else with twins, I don't think. Like, personally. So I'm like, you're taking care of two.
Two babies.
Oh.
And 4 hands are not enough. I tell you.
Oh my Lord. I appreciate that we're matching somewhat because my glasses match your shirt and you match my dress. So this is popping. I always tend to do this with all my guests. So
how does really that even happen? Because you didn't call me and ask me what I was wearing. And I didn't coordinate with you either.
But what I'm saying is like, this is how I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be because this happened with Cordell. This happened with Corey. This happens with every single person, even females. I'm like, oh, wow, we're like matching. And I don't, talk to anyone about that. But I think it's because I'm having the right people on.
Yes.
So.
It's a level of serendipity that occurs when you're on the right path to a place.
Yeah. And yesterday when we talked about, the link and it's like, I was doing that when you texted me, I'm like, oh, wow,
Yep.
So, I don't want to kill your vibe, but I think, that bit of my story regarding the twins, right? You do, right?
Tell me. Inform me.
Oh, but before I go, we could talk about it another time, but
I say whatever you want to speak about.
Yeah. So I'm going to let the viewers know a bit about you. So Andre is known as Dre. So do you want me to call you Dre or Andre?
Either one.
So Andre is actually my best friend's name. He has a baby as well.
Oh, wow.
So Dre has lived many lifetimes and gathered many tools in his 40 years of living. Are you still 40?
I am not.
How old are you?
I'm turning 43 this year.
Oh, I think you turned down to 20.
No, I'm turning 43 on August 15th next month.
Wow. A little bit of grays, I see.
Yeah, they're speckled in there. I don't dye them. You know how people be dyeing them?
Yeah.
I don't do that.
No, it'll get uneven and stuff, but yeah. So Andre has been living, Andre's life has been one of overcoming great adversity and creating a new path to thrive against great odds. Andre grew up orphaned with his brother in the New York system foster care. He ducked not to be hit by stray bullets, jumped over his limiting beliefs, sexual abuse, and emotional abuse from those who are responsible to care for him. Today, Andre is known to be one of the top executive coaches, fitness experts, and human development teachers on the planet. And he is truly a vision lived. How do you like that? It's a nice wrap up.
Yeah.
Because you had sent me, here's my short bio. I'm thinking, oh, wow, like a paragraph. I'm reading the whole website. I'm like, oh, let me pick some stuff out.
Whoa.
So funny.
Yeah. At the bottom of that, there's a 110 word bio.
At the bottom?
At the bottom. For, the media or whatever.
Aw. Yeah. There's so much to you, you know?
Layers.
Yeah.
And those are usually the people that I attract to are usually very layered people.
Like me?
Yes, like you. super layered people, people who have gone through some things.
I need to do something about this.
About what? The glasses in your cheeks?
Like, they're really big. You know what I mean?
But cheeks are a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're not here to talk about our facial features. Okay, at least I'm still able to laugh openly. It's just that my second day with them, and it's like I'm still like getting used to having them. And it's like super careful, you know, the price. Like, yeah. Anyway, wow. I want to start with you know, regarding you being orphaned. Is that something you were born into, or is that what happened later down the road?
So for me, like I was born into foster care.
Oh.
I really grasped the full story of my journey, like in my 29, my third decade. Third decade, so like 29 going into 30, and that's when I really started to invest a lot of money into developing myself as a human being. And one of the first things, I even teach this in my work, is one of the first things to do is to try to get as much of the truth as you can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So to start to heal or to start to grow as a human being, the truth and the brass tacks is the most important part. So what is real? People tend to live off stories of what is real. So I went on this journey to find out how I ended up in foster care. Because a lot of times when you go through different traumas, you block it out. And so blocking it out was something I was very good at. Blocking it out, stepping over, and continuing on with life without actually dealing with anything in the back. I'll say for the first 3 decades of my life, I was really depressed and I didn't even know it. How about that, right? So it was when I was 30, I found out my real story, which was my mother was a woman who was a hustler in the streets.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, hustler in the streets, like selling whatever it took, drugs or whatever, to be in Harlem and in the Bronx. And my father was a really good looking, slick talking Caribbean guy.
I see that.
Huh? Yeah. And so my mother was Caribbean. Wow. And they had a relationship. And then when they started to have the relationship, when she gets pregnant is when he decides to divulge his truth, which is, I'm married and I have a family over there, a few blocks away from where you live.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Guys do that, right? Unscrupulous guys. And when I found out that truth, what it did to me was it made me take relationships a little more serious. The relationship I was currently in was a relationship of a journey of growth as a human being, because I found a woman who challenged me. I found a woman who was into personal development on a spiritual, mental, and physical level. I mean, she practiced all 3 of those things. And I was practicing the physical part and the mental part. But the spiritual part was left like sort of undone for me. I wasn't dealing with that. That's the hard work, right? To spiritually overcome what you went through. So I got thrown into care. And luckily I wasn't aborted, because that is the outcome that could have happened from someone being betrayed like that. Like, I don't even want to carry your seed, could have been her answer.
Yeah.
And you know that it occurred that I was had in St. Luke's Hospital in Manhattan.
I'm so glad, because you're here today.
Oh, I'm glad too. And he went back to his family without them knowing anything. And he came to check on her, and she had another guy in another situation. And so he held me one time. And I was carrying his name at the time. And I've recently changed my last name in 2019 to Van Lun from Farnell, because I grew up and I had four last names, none of which the men were anything in my life. I've never had a male leader. I've never had a male input or instinct, nothing positive. No one who stood like as an example for me. So women have been very important in my life.
Oh,
I
yay.
treasure women. I love women. I edify women any chance I get. And they've been the best healing therapy for me. And I would say that, I was in seven foster homes, 2 group homes with a little brother in tow because he got put up for adoption shortly afterwards. And my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Your biological mom.
My biological mom.
Who left you with foster care, correct?
Right. Who placed me in foster care.
Yeah.
Along with my father. I realized through hunting for the truth that there was a collaborative effort to make sure that I was in a home with people who were of Caribbean descent. So my first foster home was a Caribbean home. I was 18 months and my brother was about 3 or 4 months.
And was that from the same dad or different?
That was, my dad helped the placement as much as you can help. But I was in the Children's Aid Society from 18 months all the way.
Yeah. No, your little brother. Was your little brother biological? Yeah.
My little brother is a half brother.
Yeah.
Because he's from a different relationship.
And
that relationship, so fast forward like 29 years, right? I get on the phone with my dad for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I had to do some personal development, some forgiving to get to a place of forgiveness and a place of wanting to heal. Because I've been trying this whole time to heal. And without certain pieces, it's very difficult to heal. Like, what was the best thing? You can't get out of a well what is not put into the well.
Wow.
Forgiveness and trust was never put into me. So I was an empty vessel who, by all means, was successful, like in my 20s, by everybody's standards. But I didn't have trust locked down, and I didn't have forgiveness locked down. Those are 2 things I really struggled with. They affected every aspect of my life. Dating, my businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Running a business without trust is difficult. Being in a meaningful relationship with another human being without trust is difficult. So I had reconnecting with my father was that thing. So I got on the phone with him when I grew to a place where I realized trust was hindering me in everything I was trying to do that was of importance. And speaking with him, I got so much of myself. And I was able to understand how he thought about their relationship as something taboo and fun. That was his idea, taboo and fun. And I kind of was happy that he wasn't my role model because I had a lot of his tendencies through nature, even without them being nurtured. Like I was very charming, I guess, and able to have relationships with women. Like just
a player.
Could have been a player, but I never lied. I never lied.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I think players have to lie and finesse.
Yeah.
I just never had to finesse. I always told the truth, and women probably wouldn't like me, but they would always respect me because I never went about the lying way. I also wasn't trying to get one over on a woman in dating. I was just keeping my options open, and I couldn't trust you enough to love you how you needed to be loved.
Oh, wow. Oh, I would not be with somebody like you from the beginning. What a waste of time.
What a waste of time. But I would tell you as good as I could tell you, and I would show you even better, right? Like keep you at arm's length. Like that was
you're emotionally unavailable.
Right. That was me for a long time. And I met a woman who was that way too.
Your wife?
Yeah.
No way.
When you meet a person who is for you, a lot of times your demons meet first.
Oh.
That's a gem, right? So, and I, that's something that I teach when I teach to my clients.
Yeah.
Is that the ugly sides of you, when they butt heads, you have a choice at that point to decide whether or not the person is worth getting past the ugliness of each of you coming out. And I decided at 27, because the year before I had written myself a letter.
Wow.
That I was going to be ready and take a woman seriously if she appeared. And I wrote that in January, and then in October, my wife walked into my life.
Wow. Wow.
And I realized the power of manifestation, because as a foster kid bouncing from home to home, I was like, I'm going to find a stable home. I'm going to end up in a situation that is going to be good for me and my brother. And we're not going to have to pack our bags into pack all of our belongings into thank you bags and carry them around for much longer. So I had created, I guess, a non-real world in my world of trauma to cope with my world that was so.
Wow.
And nobody taught me that. That was just like the pain, because I was very sensitive. I was a very sensitive young boy. The pain was overwhelming. So it was either I created this make-believe world where I can heal and where I'm very self-contained and don't have to lean on anybody, and where I can be a rock for my little brother, and where I could decide which home we end up in, because I would act out. I would break everything in a person's house so we could get kicked out. And if that vibe was wrong, right? People do that in their relationships now. They break up everything in a relationship, not knowing that the vibe is wrong underneath. So they break up their careers like that too. That's a subconscious thing, right?
Wow.
So as a little boy, I had these protective mechanisms that, like everything, suit you at the time, but can also kill possibility in other areas.
Wow.
If that makes any sense.
And you've written a book, I know.
Yes.
You don't have it with you, do you?
I don't have a copy in my hand now.
Tell us about your book. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, tell us about your book.
Yeah, it's called Focus on Better.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's called Focus on Better is because if you don't, how do you get to better? The thing that pulled me out of, like, the trauma, being snatched out of multiple homes, being sexually abused as a young boy, all of those different things, was because I knew that my location wasn't going to be my destination, and better kept pulling me forward.
Wow.
That quote is from my friend Raphael Gordon. Like he also overcame a lot of trauma, and he's we went to college together.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, like, his location wasn't his destination. He always says that. And that's one of the things that I lived on. So focusing on better is what pulled me to becoming the coach, because I experienced the trauma of my clients in various, maybe in a deeper way, because, I wasn't tethered by love or holding or hug. I didn't get hugged until I was like 16.
I feel that. Yeah.
And in church, when, they're like, hug your neighbor and stuff like that, I was like, back the hell up.
Right.
Right. Like, don't you touch me. So that was me as a little boy growing up. Like that.
No affection, hard shell.
None.
Right. Detached, avoidant personality type.
Even my body, like, became hard. Like, that's why I got into bodybuilding and stuff like that, is that shell. But I focused on better because I knew that there had to be a better home for me to be in. I knew that there had to be better people in the world, because I had been exposed to good people and terrible people. And then that's also how I found out that racism is fully bullshit. BS.
No, you can curse.
Okay. I'm like censoring myself because I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I knew racism was bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I've met many colored people, many people from many backgrounds. Some of them had my best interests at heart, and some of them did not. I realized that this whole idea of racism was bullshit since I was 7. So I'm in a world full of crazy people, right? Wow. Because everybody's subscribing to these people that look like this are this way, and these people that look like this are this way. My biggest hurt and trauma came from people that look like me, and then it came from people who did not look like me.
Wow.
And then my biggest happiness came from people that look like me and people who did not look like me. So I realized that it was a construct, that racism was a construct, and that good and bad people come from multiple colors, multiple customs. And that's how I became very accepting of people.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah. So I've worked with 10,000 people on 4 different continents, right?
Wow.
And that's a lot of personalities, a lot of energy being exchanged. And it's a lot of seeing humanity. And there's like 12 ways of being that people are.
You read any books on it? Personality books?
Oh my goodness. Everything from DISC, you know, like
you had DISC.
personality assessment, right? All the way down the list. And I made it I read my way into my version of better was something I read my way into. So as a little kid, I was reading books. Like books were like my friends, kind of. And I would go into a book when things got really ugly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you remember what book as a child? Like
lots of books. You know what I read that really fueled me was The Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, it's like 21 books or something like that. And I would just hunt for a different volume each home that I went to. Oh, so wow. if I got to read, like I learned how to read like at 5 or 6 years old. Like I was just advanced.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. Because I had to use every information to navigate all these strange people, all these violent places. I watch people get killed in the streets, women get beat up and dragged. So I had to reach for information that was going to help me get out of that. And books held that knowledge. And so I have a reverence for books. And myself and my wife have over 400 books lining the walls.
So you're not minimalist.
Well, everything else is minimal except for that.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a knowledge library. We don't collect stuff, and everything is very
experience
crisp. Like, but our books are super, super, because books give you the ability to paint an imaginary place or to visit a place you haven't physically gone. You can visit it through the eyes of another person. This is also why I respect everybody's perspective, even the ugliest, dumbest ones. What we would say is dumb. So I became very, that's nice to see.
Yeah, Miss Andrea.
That other people, have understood that books can be therapeutic in a lot of ways.
Wow.
And when I got old enough and started making really good money and, doing stuff, I would invest in conferences. I would invest in books. I've invested over $150K on just education and healing modalities and things of that nature. And so I still read to this day. I'm reading anywhere from 21 to 30 books a year still.
Wow. That's brilliant. That's what Les had told us in our program, to read at least 30 pages a day.
Yeah.
I'm big on Audible. One book from my childhood I remember reading was You Don't Know Me. I don't remember who it was by, but it was like a thick book. It was a story about a boy who's going through a lot, and it was called You Don't Know Me. And I could relate to that. Like, you don't know me.
I would look that up.
Yeah. And You Don't Know Me. And I just remember reading it on a snowy day. So
the Chronicles of Narnia, like, to me, that was people like traveling into different worlds, right? Like traveling into different worlds and having these adventures.
That's right.
Yeah. And so life became something that I looked forward to, even though where I was ugly, even though where I was violent, even though where I was filthy. That's another thing. I came to despise dirt. Right?
Oh yeah.
Came to despise dirt. And like when we talk about racism, if we talk about it on a social and a community level, I got to see it everywhere. The graffiti, no summer jobs, abandoned buildings, people, drug dealers on every corner. Like that's how I grew up. So that's how I grew up. I grew up with that type of environment. My environment was like that. Crack buildings, like right down the street. My friends getting shot and killed. Like it was crazy. So I grew up in that kind of environment, and to be able to reach out of that environment with my mind. Remember, I told you I had the mind and the physical.
Right.
But I didn't have the spirit.
Yeah.
My spirit took a lot longer to heal. My spirit is still in transformation. Like,
wow.
It's still in transformation. But
Wow.
I've been able to let go. I believe to let go is a huge portion. To let go of the pain.
I've never said wow this much to anyone who speaks on Chai Together so far. I've said the wow most to you. It's like, wow. Like that's the only thing. It's fascinating. And it's really fascinating. So I have a question for you. Yeah. Well, two questions. The first one is, do you believe that, there's millions of people in foster care, right? And do you feel like whatever you're destined to become after that chapter, you're going to become it, even if you're in it right now? Do you believe that for people, or only, not everyone, but the few who are like chosen? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So something that has become really true to me over, like, now I'm 4 decades into this journey.
Yeah.
Right. Something that has become very true to me is that Pareto's law is real. And it's not always an 80-20 thing. Mm-hmm. That's what Pareto's law states, right? 20% of what we do gives us 80% of the outcomes. Mm-hmm. 20% of the people in your business will give you 80% of the money in your business. Mm-hmm. It's less than 20% of the kids in foster care that come out and actually become who they are supposed to be.
Wow.
I also do not feel that you have to go through, this is controversial.
I
don't feel like you
know where you're going
through hell
to become
the blossom.
Right.
Diamonds are formed in meteorites.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exposed to the pressure of the earth. But then there are diamonds that are formed under the earth.
Wow.
That are made under pressure. There's somebody who's 10 years old right now who can amass the knowledge that I've amassed in 43 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a spark, there's a divine spark in every single human being. And I believe that there are certain things that unlock that divine spark. Whether you're 10, whether you're 40, whether you're 50. And for some people, foster care is going to be that thing.
This is so deep. Yeah. I like it. Yeah.
Foster care, trauma, pain, pressure is going to be that thing. And some people, guess what? They're going to commit suicide. They're going to die.
Yeah. I like that you said it just so casually right now. That is so true. And I say this to my friends as well, but it's very true. There's some people who are just going to not have the capacity, the resilience to make it through. I'm glad that we have, but there's people who didn't. Yes. Just because there's some people who are so used to the comfortable life. One small thing goes wrong, time to commit suicide.
Tailspin.
That's right. Just something that's not even a great big deal to us, like losing a job or money or something like that. They just feel like it's the end all be all. Like, now I have to kill myself, you know?
And that's the response. So here's something that I look at, right? Me being the person who I am, like, I get knowing thyself is on the, the pyramids in Athens.
Wow,
is in the know thyself is in the archway of the Parthenon, right? In Greece. So know thyself. Me knowing myself understands two things. If I was a kid who would have aged out of foster care, I would have been one of the best, biggest, angriest drug dealers in Brooklyn. I probably would have been killed. I would have had a lot of generals and lieutenants underneath me. And Brooklyn and maybe the globe, because that's how my brain was. I could think local and over there. So like I would hop on a train to Bolivia, find out how to get the cheapest cocaine, find out how to get that cocaine sent here. Like I was so angry and so intellectual that I had to get adopted at some point in order for me to become this person. Because nobody ever said yes to me. Nobody ever chose me. Nobody ever cared about me until I got adopted. That was the only time in my life I ever felt accepted.
What age was that?
I was 10. I was 10 years old.
Well, God bless. Are you still in touch with,
Oh yeah, that's my mom.
Yeah.
Mom. Like I flew to Atlanta to be able to have my
right here, right now.
Yeah, right now. The first time they met her is this week, last week when I arrived here.
And what are your twins' names?
Drace and Nico.
Drayson and Nico.
Drace and Nico.
Oh, Drace. And Nico. Okay.
So Drace is the girl. She's named after me.
Oh, wow.
And Nico is the boy named after Nicole.
Wow.
So Andre and Nicole, Drace and Nico.
Wow.
And those are their names. And they're Van Luns, which is a combination of Nicole's maiden last name and my biological father's last name. So I'm not carrying a last name of anyone who abandoned the family or started one without them in mind. They're well thought of before they arrived. My children, they were planned, they were loved. Somebody said yes to them before they even showed up. So that alone, and them getting to see me love on their mom every single day, is something that sets them up for a whole new trajectory in life. And I consciously made that decision when I hit 21, because I never thought I would make 21 growing up where I grew up and how I grew up. You know, people don't understand that when you get adopted, that's the first time for you to be like, okay, me, there's a me. All right. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I have a steady bed. So now I can think about who I want to be, who I want to become. And from that age, children, a good woman was so important to me.
Wow.
It became important to me from 10. And I pictured my children when I was 10. I pictured the way my wife, the love that I feel right now when I was 10, 7 to 10. And those are really impactful years in a person's life. 0 to 5, yes, for foundational, super important, right? I was not loved, not touched, not cared about, all that stuff. But from 7 to 10, I started to dream a little bit. And that little bit of a dream is what created everything that is in fruition in my life right now, has come to fruition.
Wow.
And I've always had a track record of super ugly, me learning how to cope with it, and me living into a vision, and then bliss. That's been my default, everything. Wow. So my life, super ugly. And then me dreaming. And then I have this knack for living into my dream because I couldn't afford to live into what was happening because it was so brutal and ugly. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I couldn't afford to add to my own pain and stress. Some people have a lot more bandwidth for adding to their own pain and stress mentally.
I'm okay.
I was like, I'm good. Like what life is giving me is so ugly that I'm going to work the opposite of my stress, opposite of my pain, opposite of my ugly. I felt weak growing up, self-conscious, weak, small. And one thing that got me into the fitness realm was when I was 12. I was watching, this is going to date me, but so what? I was watching Conan the Barbarian.
I have no idea.
Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. And he showed up on the screen with all these muscles. And I was like, damn, how do I look like that? And my mom was like, work out. So then this was the first time when I was like, work out how? She was like, get some weights, lift them like this and that. I saved up. I would find 5 cents on the street. I would take it. This is going towards my weights.
Wow.
I would earn some allowance.
Wow.
Which I later on found out was how much they were paying me to be housed. When I got that allowance, I would take it and put it towards weights. I was always hungry growing up. So that's why I was like a twig. either because I did something bad and wouldn't get food. That's another thing. I would defy the law for what was right. And I still defy the law for what is right, because the law doesn't always match what is right. What everybody says is law doesn't match what is right. So you got to be able to break some rules to get where you got to go. So I used to take food money and put it towards my workout and my workout bench. And when I was 12, I got a bench, and I carried 120 pounds from downtown Brooklyn to Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn on the bus with no help. And that was more weight than what I weighed. And that started my fitness journey. This dream of looking like strength, of looking like leadership, of when I walk into the room, people are like, damn, he does something different. You know, like, so I got that importance from my body. And that's where I was saying that my body and my mind were online. Yeah. But the spiritual healing took a lot longer to happen. The spiritual healing took me internalizing the value that other people saw in me, because I didn't have that value for myself. I didn't have that value for myself. So that's another thing that I give a lot of people, and you'd be surprised. There are CEOs of companies who don't love themselves. Of major companies, like I'm talking like Fortune 50 companies. I got to work with the president of a big company. I'm not going to say their name, but at the root of all their inconsistencies, right? At the root of all their inconsistencies was the fact that they were not allowed to love themselves.
It's true.
Crazy. They were not, and this is someone who grew up and went to the Ivy League schools and had the right color skin for advancement and the right sex. This was a person running through life, like everybody looking at them, like underneath all that self-loathing. Well, I had that because I grew up in the ghetto. The ghetto is a community that is neglected by the rest of the world. Nobody's looking at you for nothing. The reason why the ghetto is because the ghetto doesn't add value to people.
Wow.
So
right there is like a mic drop moment. Yeah.
We're impoverished in the ghetto. It's dirty and filthy and nasty in the ghetto because no value is given from the ghetto. And when value is produced in the ghetto, the value moves out. That's the value, which is human capital, ideas, another capital that's taken from the ghetto. So the ghetto is sucked from. All of our greatest athletes on sports come from the ghetto. A lot of them come from the ghetto. It's because that resilience and that anger has to be channeled into something physical. And sometimes that's the first rung to healing for people, is a physical thing. So the self-love was where my soul started to heal. And I didn't get that until I was like 20 something.
Wow.
So that took me 2 decades to start to really love myself, because I was like, nobody values where I come from. Nobody values me or my brother. How do I add value to other people so maybe they value me? That's how I decided to have an idea to start a business. And then
a vision lived.
The next step and the pieces start to fall in line. So it's through my healing. Yeah, it's through my healing that I was able to become this giver. And I've trained people for free, like $1,000 an hour. The difference between the two is some people, everyone is wealthy. So check this out. Everyone is wealthy. Sometimes their wealth is locked in their spirit. Sometimes their wealth is locked in their bigness of heart. And you can experience wealth. Some people, their wealth is in the bank. Some people, their wealth is in their family. So I was wealthy in intellect. I was wealthy in having this body that, like, I think about a weight, I get muscles, right? Not everybody has that. So our gifts and our talents are where our wealth lie. And all you have to do is, if there's an area of life where you don't have wealth, is say, I'm wealthy here. I want to put that wealth here. I want to maneuver that wealth here. And I just,
it's like plastic surgery.
Yes, it's like plastic surgery. But here's the best part of it. There's no side effects from moving your wealth around. I'm super wealthy right now.
Oh.
My bank account is nice, right? I'm actually closing on another house, right? I bought my first house when I was 21. And I'm closing on an investment property now in Las Vegas, where we are. It's just, I'm blessed, right? So wealth-wise, I could get on I got on a private jet with my family and just landed in Vegas with nowhere to land because our lease got pulled while we were in the air.
Wow.
Right. But to have the monetary money to say, all right, we're going to stay in a hotel. Let's just lamp out for 3 weeks.
I saw you on the jet, right?
Yeah.
Andre was on a private jet, y'all.
Yeah, right. So from the slums of Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Harlem to private jets, like really, like that can happen. Like, so my wealth now is, I can tangibly feel it. And then look at this. I was poor in family. Now I'm rich in family. How did that happen?
Mind.
Focusing on better and becoming a spiritual match. I'm rich in family. I have twins. Look how rich that is, right? I have a wife who loves me. So I had to transmute. That's what, there's no energy that, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transmuted. And so find where you're wealthy and transmute it. Give it to another area of life. We all come prepackaged. We come prepackaged with wealth. I look at my son. You give my son a toy, you know what he does? He takes it, flips it, turns it upside down, opens it, closes it, slaps it, throws it against the wall, picks it up. That's how he understands stuff. His sister is a twin. They biologically very similar. His sister takes that toy, first thing, licks it. And then she'll squeeze it. And that's it. She's done with the toy. But my son is different. So understanding and engineering, and that's where his wealth lies. She's kinesthetic. She runs up the stairs and down the stairs. He can't do that. So she has this wealth of, this is a kinesthetic genius. I think every human being on the world, this is why I focused, my business is called A Vision Lived. It's called AVL. It's because all of us have genius. I believe that there's a globe that we all live on. She was the toy licker. So each and every one of us is a cell within the world, the organism. And all we have to do is do our function, know ourselves, understand where our genius is. And genius to me, greatness to me, is the ability to channel what your gift is and share it. I don't care if you're getting paid for it or not. Like, you are displaying genius by having this chai together thing, because you're called to it, you do it. That's genius. That's no different than LeBron James picking up a basketball and saying, oh, shoot, I could dunk when I'm 10. Right? It's the same exact thing. And my goal in life is to encourage, challenge, and inspire people to do their function and find their genius and share it. Like, what would the world look like if all of us were living our function? It would be less cancer. It'll be less stress-induced chronic ailments. It would be just a more beautiful place. So, and we're all interconnected. And that's my vision. That's my view of the world. I came up with that worldview. Yeah. I came up with that worldview, like, as a struggling business owner. Yeah. And I was like, when you start to struggle, it's because you're no longer working in a place of elevated genius anymore.
Wow.
Yep. Elevated genius comes naturally to us when we tap into who we are on the essence of us, that spirit, that soul. So when you live your spirit, your soul, your function, there's no one step here, step 2 here, step 3 here, step 4. That's not how the manifestation of spiritual gifts and greatness works. Spiritual gifts and greatness don't work with steps, methods, tactics. They work with, I'm divinely placed here to do this. What's the step I do to live in that direction? and then you'll get one step, and you have to dare yourself and be courageous enough to take that one step. And then you reflect on the outcomes, and then the next step becomes visible. And like Martin Luther King said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. And that's where genius comes out. And that's where the monotony of practice helps the genius to be expressed. And so I always ask people, what are you practicing?
So do you have coaches yourself?
Yes.
I thought so.
I currently, I'm at the point of hiring a new business coach because business didn't come naturally to me. And as far as a mind and accountability coach, I'm still vetting people for that now. But
we will talk. Yeah. I want you to share with everyone. Everyone feels that you have such great wisdom. Where can they reach you more? And I'm going to link it as well. But your website was amazing when I checked it out today.
Well, that's good. I'm happy. You know what?
It's real.
So, yeah, it's real. It's authentic. It's the first authentic website I've had. Because I always just show fitness, muscles, running. Ha, ha.
Yeah.
And then it was like suit, tie.
Yeah, I don't like
executive coach, right? But
family.
Now
you show family.
Now real I show life. Family, right? Now I show, that's my wealth. Now I show my wealth because it inspires people. People who come from broken families, people who they're like, man, look at this guy taking care of his family. And he didn't have a role model to show him what a family's supposed to be. He sort of, when he did get adopted, he got adopted by a single woman.
Wow.
Right? Like somebody who gave him a chance, like me, the door open. So I'm the most authentic version of Dre that has ever walked the planet. And that took a lot of work. But you can find me at andrevanlund.com or avisionlived.com. Also, I'm real heavy on Instagram. I'm actually in a 90-day hiatus from most social media. So you, Pratibha, have gotten me before I closed the door because I was like, I need to take a break from podcasts and interviews and producing content on a never-ending basis because I'm a Gen Xer at heart. Generation X people, we grew up without the internet. We have IRL things we get fed from in real life. We were the latchkey kids who had to find something cool to do in the house, but then they came up with that.
I know. Is this spelled all correctly for your site? I definitely want Carrie and Miss Andrea to go on there. Yeah. Yes. And your other website is your name, correct?
Yes. That all of that points to andrevanlund.com. And you know, I was like, fitness is a part of personal development for me. I retired being a fitness instructor after 24 years of instruction.
Wow, almost like my whole life.
Yo, my wife helped me do that because I was growing past it. Like, I love it, but here it was being commandeered by my clients.
Wow.
You know, and that's something that I love that helped me heal. It was being commandeered by other people, and I sort of wanted to snatch it back. So when I work out, I don't think, hey, this is going to work for Chris. And oh my goodness, this is Jonathan. Jonathan has a weakness here that we could fix. Like, I don't think about any of that now. Now I work out and I just sweat and I feel good. It's therapy again.
I know you're so proud of your life. We're also proud of you.
I'm extraordinarily proud of the journey, because that was what was super important. But I'm also inspired. I'm also super impacted that God would see fit to use little old me. Like, you know, my eyes used to cross. I had all these flaws. I went through hell.
Yeah.
And, I am humbled every day that I get on the phone and I get to go into people's lives and point out perceptions that I get to see from my perspective, and it helps people. I'm just so like, it's overwhelming, but it's blissful, but it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the ugly duckling.
I don't believe that one bit.
I was.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's so true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was the skinny kid with the big head who had to grow into his body and the eyes that were kind of crossed. And I was that dude. And,
it's sad. We could just all cry. We'll just cry together.
I know that's how you start. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I'm being used. You know how you're about to be used?
Yeah.
It's because the same reoccurring prompts keep coming up to you over and over and over, and they're nagging. They're like that tap on the shoulder, like you should be doing this.
Wow.
And so I just answer it, and you're answering your tap on the shoulder too.
I want to know about your shirt. Is that your own shirt?
No.
Your own brand?
No, this is not. This is.
Do you have your own shirt yet?
I have a brand named Denley. It's called Dream It Now, Live It. It's an apparel company, but I have not put out any clothing.
I want one of your shirts. You have so many great statements you say. I would definitely get one.
Yeah. Oh,
you should. Man. You should. Yeah.
I will definitely do that because I think it's. I think sometimes a couple of words kept me going. A lot of times.
That's right. Affirmations.
People say, "Oh, words, sticks and stones will break." I say sticks and stones will break your bones, but words
hurt. Words can make you commit suicide. Words
can take you out for years.
Ooh, yes,
and then you get back on track and you're like, Jesus Christ, what took me off? What took me off track? It was something somebody said
to me like 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
It's so true.
That's when my life went off track, was when I believed this person who said that.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of inspirational people, a lot of people who I've held in high regard say things to me that make me either second guess myself or don't think I have it. And then I would like look through. This is a quick thing I'll share.
Yeah.
The first time a man ever poured into me, and this is why I go to do things like the OK program, which is our kids.
Yeah.
And I speak to 45 Black males in a room from age 12 to 21 with 10 men. And we pour into those kids. We say things, we teach things, we grow, we help these kids navigate their lives. The reason why I joined that is because I had only one person pour anything into me. I saw Les Brown speak twice. And afterwards I walked up to him, I shook his hand and I said, I want to be a speaker one day. And this is like when I was 21. I was imagining it. I didn't know that I could do it, right? And he said, if you want to be a speaker, it's in you because God put it in you. He said, make sure that you do it, that you pursue it. And I've spoken to groups of like 5,000-10,000 people now.
Wow.
I speak to groups of children and youth going through the same thing that I've gone through. And I want to be a Black male face and voice. And I don't know that guy's name, but this one guy came in and he just spoke life into the whole classroom. And from then on, I was just ready to go. Like, that's what I want to be, because I've never seen people with my skin, my sex. We're only 2% of teachers, Black men.
Yeah. I didn't have no Black teachers.
And I went to school in the hood and I went to school in the suburbs. I went to high school. I graduated from Plainfield High School. I also went to Spotswood High School, Blue Ribbon White School, Moderate, and then Boys and Girls High School in Brooklyn. Different. So I went from 4th edition hand-me-down books to eating French fries and salads at lunch. So I got to see that whole gamut. And along the way, I didn't have one Black male. So I want to be that one Black male that can say a thing to spark a thing Because guess what? It does matter who it comes from sometimes. It does matter who the message comes from, how it lands. I remember I bought my first home when I was 21, and it's because my mom told me, you could buy a house. It's nothing. And she's
That's back then, not my generation now.
Yeah. My mom was like, it's nothing. You can get a house. And I was like, what? She's 5'1", barely 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you so much, Carrie. Like, I'm feeling art stuff. Oh. So she said you could get a house. And a house to me meant security. It meant, all right, nobody can take this from you. And I was able to get my first home at age 22.
Like the stuff we were talking about before we came live, I was telling you about the security and a base. You can't have no base and be spreading your wings everywhere.
No, that's you know how the best way I've heard it put?
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
What'd you say?
The best way I heard it put is every man, this is from the Richest Man in Babylon. Is everyone should have their own, every man should have their own abode. And I've heard it put in another way is you'll have a hard time hitting the target if you're shooting that target from a boat.
Wow.
A lot of people are on boats trying to hit targets. You just need a foundation, a place to catch your breath. And that's what my mother was.
I'm so excited for my life.
Yeah,
I know.
You're providing a place for people to catch their breath.
Aww.
That's what this platform what this platform is for some people. That's what it could be for more people. So if there's any way that you can grow, that I can help you grow it, I will be available.
Aww.
Yep, I'll be available because people need firm foundations for healing, and that's what you provide in here.
It's so emotional. I will cry, but I don't want my new glasses getting dirty.
New glasses to get all messed up.
I don't got time for this. They're like so big.
Keep being used. It's so important. It's so important.
I love this. I love this.
I love this too. You asked some good questions.
I know that hour is coming up because of the babies. That's what I was looking out for.
Yeah. Well, you'll hear them before you see them.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. This is great. This is great. Can people email you as well? Everything is on this website, correct?
Yes. So if you want to directly email me, you could directly email me at drevanlun@gmail.com. Or if anyone wants me to speak at a group.
Yeah.
Because I do speak to groups often.
Carrie.
For free or fee.
Yeah.
You can also reach out to me via the form on my website. And I do quite a few free talks, especially for youth. I support CASA. I support Make-A-Wish. I support OK Program, which is our kids program. And I support any group that is putting greatness as an option for people that probably don't feel too great right now. Because all of us have greatness and wealth within us. And it just needs to be transmuted. If I could be a tool for that, then I want to be used in that way.
Wow.
So that's where you can reach me. Gmail. Also, when on my website, there's a pop-up. It'll ask you for information. I'm going to start in August doing one every Friday. I'll do a call.
I did see that. That's interesting. I'm interested. Yeah.
Every Friday I do a call, and on Facebook I have a page called AVL Now.
Yeah.
I just go live for up to an hour, and I talk about current events. I talk about the overall themes that my clients have brought to the table.
I hear them.
Huh? Yeah, you hear them in the background, right? They're up. So yeah, so I talk about themes and things that kept reoccurring during the week. And a lot of people, I get almost 200 emails a day.
Wow.
And I think like 20 of them are usually, hey, this helped me this way. Or I know you don't remember me. Or I never leave, people are like, I never leave reviews or I never leave anything like this. And they hit me and they share something that they've navigated because of either my YouTube or my Instagram or.
Wow.
It,
wow. I just like, it's just amazing. You're one of the people who are actually doing it. You know what I mean? Not just talking about it, like you're actually impacting, you know.
Yeah. So you know what I had to do? I had to just say, how can I be used? Like, how can God use me? Wow. I believe that there's a power that can move you. And if you don't decide to move with that power, then everything becomes tougher. Everything becomes a mountain. So I was just there. When you hit the bottom, you you get to make some really great decisions. That's one good thing about hitting rock bottom. It's like, like I can't take this anymore. So let me make a good decision in my favor. And one of the best decisions I made, and one of the quotes that I always use is, if you can't be used, you're useless. So God is using me and I allow him to use me. And I always ask my clients too, is if you were a brand, what would be 3 words that describe you?
Wow. Courage, hope, and imagination. Chai. Booyah. People don't know. Courage, hope, and imagination. Woo. Chai together.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it. See? So how many people do that though? Not many people do that.
Wow.
So encourage, challenge, and inspire is mine. I encourage people. I'll challenge you. I'll make you sweat and uncomfortable. and I'll inspire you. One of the things I'm very I think is a gift of mine, and like, know thyself. I keep coming back to that. You got to know you. And that's my little sister. So my little sister also, my mother, by the way, she raised like 21 kids. She adopted 4,
alone,
raised 21 by herself. And my little sister is an inspiration as well. So she is a whole nother case. Like she was a foster kid and she got adopted right away. So she doesn't have all the memories and stuff. But boy, her journey is crazy, and she's a super inspiration to people too. I think now she's up around like 500,000 followers on TikTok or something.
Wow, I don't have TikTok. I should.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm around her, she'll send me a post, and through great pain comes great wisdom, or comes great tragedy on repeat. And when bad things are on repeat, it's time to make some good decisions in your own favor. And
you know, as a kid, I used to say this because I used to write a lot through the pain. You know, that the greatest of writing comes from the greatest of pains. I used to hold that close to me since I was young, or that someone out there needs me. Like, that's how I kept going, by affirming to myself, like, I'm needed, you know, and that love lives here. Like, these are the 3 things I still know till today. This is like years ago. And that's because it was so deep, you know, that it really is in your subconscious.
Yeah. I call those anchors. So when you get down, you can refer to those. And the anchors are buried deep. And so, like, leave as many anchors that will, along the cord, you can pull your way up to the bow of the ship again when you slip down into the dark abyss. Because life is about there being abysses. There's hills and valleys in life. If you're not experiencing any valleys, you're not doing enough. Yeah. Remember, there's valleys and scariness to even getting up and walking. Hey, where'd you go? Oh. Well,
it said like my internet.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what happened.
What the heck, StreamYard? I'm not paying you next month.
I know, right? Like, what's going on here?
I was like, what? It said, make sure your internet's like connected. It's like, okay.
No, I was just going to say that you're not doing enough if you don't experience any valleys. And if you're experiencing valleys, you're alive. You're in motion. Nobody's hill. And even the people who you think are like really, really good, they haven't figured out how to hill. There's always valleys. So I always set anchors. And anchors are just mental set points that help pull me out of the abyss at all times. And usually, guess what? Your best anchors are going to be what other people say that they got from you. Because at the end of the day, people want to be significant. More than successful. We want to be significant. And significant.
That's me.
Yeah. Right? That's deep, right? And it's usually the ones of us that have gotten hurt the worst that want to be significant to other people.
Yeah. That's me.
Yeah, that's me too. And that's where the wisdom comes from, that and I've lived so many lifetimes. Like that's where that comes from too. So I'm a twin dad now.
No.
Nowhere in nature does 1 + 1 = 2, by the way. It's only a human construct that 1 + 1 ever equals 2.
Okay, we're gonna stop now.
Yeah. It's deep. 1 + 1 = 4 in my life. Me and my wife together made these 2 kids. Now there's 4 of us.
Aw. Did you know it's actually the woman? It's the woman who creates twins.
Absolutely.
Not the man. Yeah.
Has to have the ability to have 2 fertilized eggs without the environment killing the sperm. Yeah. So her grandmother is a twin, and her mother's uncle is a twin. So it's both sides. And when I first met her, she said, I hope you don't have a problem with having twins. First started dating her. Hope you don't have a problem with having twins. Nobody else in her family had twins.
Carrie. Carrie, get off. Aw. Yeah. This is great. This is great. Thank you so much for being on today.
Well, it's been my pleasure to share.
Because I feel you'd keep continuing talking for another hour.
I could go forever.
I know.
I feel like so blessed and so used. So
I know.
And I'm very grateful to be on your platform and that we have met through each of us. Yeah, bettering ourselves. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is like just so warm and like just so comfortable. It's like, all right, let me hit the button now. Like,
I know, warm and comfortable is awesome. It means there's divinity in it.
I don't think we're getting off this live, are we? Okay, be quiet now, okay?